Welcome to ParaTalk with the East Tennessee Ghost Seekers. Hair-raising, spine-tingling evidence covering the full supernatural spectrum. UFOs, cryptozoology, paranormal encounters. Have an experience to share? Call now, 865-264-0448. That's 865-264-0448. And now, here's your host, Stephen Brown, with fellow ETGS members, Steve Wiseman, Andrea Brown, and Jesse Arms. Welcome to ParaTalk.
All right. It is Saturday.
It is.
May 12th.
Yes.
2018. And it has been about 78 days since we had Steve and Jesse both in here with us.
I know.
Oh, God,
They're
that
back.
They're
No, there ain't no way.
No, there's no 78 days.
78 days.
Yeah, that's direct calculations right there.
That's pretty precise.
That just came out
That's
of-
like on point.
I mean,
Well-
that was so straight it came out of his butt right there.
I thought I smelled shit.
78 days, 9 hours, 43 minutes, and
And
47 seconds.
Oh my gosh. We can't never leave again.
No.
It's official.
no.
No.
No joke. We had our last two podcasts, and I was like, this is really quiet.
I'm so bored.
This is just not the same. I love you, Stephen, but this is not the same.
Well, god dang.
And we missed
Gee
that.
golly whiz. I missed y'all too.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you guys
Stop,
are
I'm gonna
back.
cry. But it's good to be back.
It is.
It's good to have you guys back.
It really is.
I mean, did you guys get a chance to listen to the two podcasts?
I did listen to one.
Which one did
The
you?
first one that y'all did.
The one
But
with
the second
Steve.
one I didn't get to listen to yet.
The second one's really good. You'll have to check it out. And anybody that's listening that hasn't listened to last week's podcast, last Friday we recorded with Steve Phillips. He's from Entity Vortex Paranormal Society.
Yes.
He had a really cool story to share with us on the
The tragedy.
at Tin Can Holler.
Holler.
Yeah. And it was really, really awesome.
That's a good movie title.
I think he said there actually is a movie.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
And a book.
And a book. And, yeah.
I
Did you
don't
order
read.
it?
I haven't ordered it yet.
No. Let's see, you said you were ordering it last week.
I know.
Okay, so we have this.
Slacker.
It's just been a crazy
Dude,
2 weeks. You know, it's
It
been
really
nuts.
has.
Yeah.
I've been slammed at work, and then this week, death in the family, and so it's just been.
And my old
one
man's
thing
still
after
in the
another.
hospital.
Yeah.
It's been.
And Jessie had a death in her family. I mean, it's,
Yep. They always say it happens in threes.
well, I'm checking my pulse right
And
now to make sure I'm still here.
yeah, that's kind of
Yeah.
proof right there. It happened in threes
Yeah.
this time around. I just hate that it was all three of us that it
Yeah.
happened
Right.
to.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it sucks. And, hopefully next week holds better things.
Hopefully.
Hey,
Yeah. I
onward
can't
and
take
upward.
any-
As long as it's not death, I think we're looking up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere over the rainbow.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Have no idea.
But then the second night, last Saturday, we interviewed a wonderful little lady.
Yes.
She was a Bigfoot researcher and saw her first and only Bigfoot when she was 14 years old.
Yeah, that was Jackie Crone.
That
Yeah.
would have scared the shit out of me
Yeah,
at
dude.
14 years old.
14 years old.
Yeah.
And, I mean, she's 56 now. And She's a member of the
Are you
Indiana.
supposed to say that?
It's
Yeah, she told us all she was.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's a member of the North American Bigfoot Hunters Research Organization, Indiana Division.
Very good.
Yeah.
You would think you were
Nice.
reading that off a paper.
I'm not-
You would
But
think.
she's not.
I'm
But
She's
not.
totally
I
not.
know.
I'm watching.
Straight
Yeah.
from memory.
Bullshit.
She's just that good.
I'm
Yeah.
just that good.
Yeah. But yet, she doesn't remember what she wore yesterday.
She didn't remember to order that book.
No,
Not that
she
I'm
didn't.
thrilled.
Thanks, Jesse. Where's that bus at? Because I'm pretty sure I got thrown under that.
Good job,
I'm
Jesse.
sorry, buddy.
Here, I missed you.
You did miss me.
Zinga.
That was funny.
Okay, I told you it's been a crazy week, and
Just write it down on your pad.
okay. Order book.
What
Got it.
book?
A Tragedy in Tin Can Holler.
There
Good
you go.
job.
See,
She did remember that, and that's not on
Uh-huh.
the paper.
I remembered that one.
Yeah.
There we go.
She remembered it.
She
I
remembered
remembered
it.
Remembered it.
Remembered it. You can get that book on the interwebs.
It's on the back side of that page.
Oh my god!
I didn't read it though, did?
No, you called, but
Oh, nice.
yeah,
Dude,
good job.
I know my stuff.
Good job. I think you wrote that down whenever Steve gave us the title.
Yes.
So you could
Remember it.
buy it.
Yes, exactly. That's why it's right here.
Have you done that yet?
Where's that dadgum crickets button?
This one.
Let me shoot you. Shoot you with crickets.
Hey Steve, I think she's calling you out.
Ooh, here we go.
Yep. And that's yeah. I
My
think
damn self in the eye.
so. I'm excited about tonight's show.
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
this is
definitely.
like going to be super intense, and
It's a scary subject.
It's
really-
home with me.
It does hit home with you. Tonight's tonight's subject is sleep paralysis. And what's the other big word, Andrea?
the hypogogic.
There you- Hypogogic hallucination.
Yes, there you go. That one.
Yes.
Hypogogic.
And those occur right as you're
Not from
falling asleep.
mushrooms.
Are you sure?
Well, not that word, but I've seen it happen from mushrooms.
You've read about it
I've read about it on the interweb.
on the interwebs.
You can find anything on the internet.
And everything is
crazy.
true.
Yes.
Everything.
Believe it all.
I mean, why
There's
would they-
no fake hallucinations.
no. Why would someone put something on the interweb
I
that
know,
isn't
mine's
true?
always been real.
Oh God, yeah.
I see that. You see the dragon too?
I hear the dragon every time I come and go from this place.
I rode that son of a bitch.
He totally rode my dragon.
No hallucinogenics there.
That was real deal. That wasn't a hallucination at all.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, we are discussing sleep paralysis and
Gojic.
Keep it going. Yep.
yeah
Hallucinations.
Yes, I mean it's a big ass word, and I'm doing my best with it, guys. So you'll just have to forgive me.
You're
'Cause-
forgiven, my son.
Thank you. And but yeah, we were talking. You know, it hits
It's-
home with Steve. What?
Hypnagogic.
Hypnagogic hallucinations.
There
Yes.
you go.
HH.
HH. Yes.
Here.
Hypnagogic.
Well, that's Siri. She don't know how to speak.
That bitch don't know what she's talking about.
I mean, is she even American?
No, I don't think she is. She's like, I don't know.
She's a Delian,
Delian.
Apollonian.
She's an Apollonian. Yeah, Siri's Apollonian.
Yeah, so
From the
hypnagogic is relating to the state immediately before falling asleep.
I said that.
Just making sure.
Would that be the state where you're about to fall asleep
Like the
when you
REM.
jump?
Yes.
You know, like when you
That-
feel like you're
Yeah.
falling,
and
you jump.
that's actually what
In the
hypnagogic
definition.
hallucination is. is that feeling that you're falling or whatever, or
Or
and you
flying.
jump before you fall asleep.
I get those all the time.
Well,
It
you're-
was
Like, I
you're
thought that was
eat
normal.
up. You are eat the fuck up with hypnagogic.
it was so funny
Is
when
that contagious?
God, I hope not.
You may want to get you a cream.
do they have hypnagogic
I
creams?
don't know. That sounds kind of
Is it
like
topical?
Nope.
unsavory. I don't know.
It's only by suppository.
Well, then I'm stuck with it forever. Forever.
Snap.
Next.
All right, so
Following contest scheduled for one fall.
all right.
On a
But,
serious note,
yeah. This is it's scary. We're making light of it because that's what we do. But people deal with this all the time, and we're gonna have a young lady on the show here in a few minutes that has dealt with this for 30 plus years.
32 years.
About 32 years, yeah.
Yeah, she started having these episodes when she was right around the age of 3.
That's
And-
crazy. I couldn't imagine.
No. So, we were talking a second ago, you said, this hits home.
Yeah, definitely.
So, tell everybody your experience with sleep paralysis.
It was kind of crazy, This is around the time when I was going to Morse Mill Hotel, every week on the week, and pretty much obsessed with the place. I come home from there one weekend. I just went to bed, was watching TV. I could have swore I was still awake. It seemed like I was. And then all of a sudden it just got real heavy, my chest, and then it just felt like my arms were thrown behind my head. And I was being held down. I just looked up, and there's this nasty-looking bitch sitting on my chest, holding my arms down, and she had these teeth. They just ragged, jagged, looked like freaking demon, just nasty shit. I couldn't move, couldn't scream. It scared the shit out of me.
Yeah. I remember when this happened to him because he called me and he was like, dude, some crazy shit just happened. And I was like, what? And so he tells me the story. And I'm like, are you sure, dude?
That is crazy.
And I was like, what are you watching on TV that you got this story from? Because he was vivid with the way he described everything when it happened. Because he called me minutes after it happened.
The girl, she kind of reminded me of that chick from The Ring. The long black hair, real white, paley skin, but those fucking teeth is.
Well, you know what's crazy is she just now said the old timers called it the hag.
Yeah, the old hag. Yeah.
That would come and sit on you at night or
Yeah.
whatever.
Well-
and that's crazy.
the going off of it's called the old hag syndrome, and this little part says that the night hag is a generic name for a fantastical creature from the folklore of various peoples, which is used to explain the phenomenon of sleep paralysis. And a common description is that a person feels the presence of a supernatural malevolent being which immobilizes the person as if sitting on his or her chest. Now, something else I thought was very interesting. We've all heard of sleep paralysis.
Oh, yeah.
Do you realize that it occurs there are more than 3 million cases in the U.S. reported every year?
Yeah, just the U.S. alone.
Wow.
Just
Yeah.
the U.S. 3 million a year.
That's crazy.
And like when we were researching this, I read, because I was like, I wonder if anyone's ever died from this. Well, there's no test to determine if someone died from, during sleep paralysis or the HH. But they also stated, if someone has a heart attack in the middle of the night, how do you not know that, especially if they were younger, that it wasn't from sleep paralysis?
Well, and
Being scared to
from being
death.
all the
scared to
cases
death.
of people dying in their sleep, and the cause is a severe asthma attack, a heart attack, natural causes or something like that. who's to say that how many people have actually died from sleep paralysis?
Right.
I mean, that is just something that we may never know because,
I thought I was gonna die that night. I mean, it was bad. I wouldn't wish that shit on my worst enemy.
Yeah.
And see, that's what I always thought it was. I thought it was something people would randomly experience. I didn't think it was something that you would grow with,
Right.
like Eileen did, from
Right.
3 to 35. It's something that's followed her whole life, and I didn't know that it would do that. I thought it was a random act that you
You
would
know, I'm
just...
47 years old, and that's the first and only time it's happened to me. You know, and I hope it never happens again.
Yeah, I'd say so.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to get Eileen on the line, and we will be back in just a few minutes.
You're listening to ParaTalk with Easton Seco Seekers, a new perspective in paranormal talk radio.
Hey, this is Steve with ParaTalk. Do you have a story to share? Call us at 865-264-0448 to explain your paranormal experience. Do you have a chilling story you'd like to share? Or just give us a topic you'd enjoy us to discuss? We understand some of you would like to keep anonymous, so the choice is yours if you want to share your name. So call 865-264-0448 now to have your story heard on the next episode of ParaTalk.
All right, and we are back. Are you guys excited?
Super.
Absolutely.
I'm so excited.
Super excited.
Yes.
Yeah,
can
so
see
we've been talking.
what?
I can see it.
But can't you?
I can.
Can't you, though? It's
Absolutely.
written all
I'm
over
dancing.
my face.
At least you're smiling.
I know, right?
So we've been talking.
Sorry.
You know, the last 15 minutes or so about sleep paralysis and what we have nicknamed HH.
Yes.
And
Why is that?
because I can't pronounce this shit.
It's just easier that way.
It just gets tongue tied. So, but now we have someone on the line who can pronounce it and has been dealing with it since she was right around the age of 3 years old. So, everybody, welcome to the show, Eileen Pasciuta. Prosciutto.
Prosciutto.
Shit, see, I did it wrong again.
Just call her Eileen.
Yeah.
It's good.
Come on, Eileen.
Yeah, no formalities.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
though.
come on, Eileen.
Oh my
Thank you for thank you for being on the show.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't resist.
I couldn't. Yeah.
Bet she's never heard that before.
Oh yeah, never. Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Okay, so you have been dealing with this since you were around 3 years old.
Yes. Yes, I have.
Can you explain your first experiences, or the first experiences you can remember?
I can. Actually, it's kind of funny because I remember every experience, and it's
Really?
kind of funny because as I get older, I tend to forget, little things, but I can recall them almost every time that this has happened. It's
Oh my gosh.
vividly ingrained in my mind.
How do you-
Especially it's as young as I was too.
How do you sleep now if you can remember all of this? I mean,
It's difficult. It's difficult, and it's kind of funny. It's like in a sense, a little bit of Stephen King, a little bit of Nightmare on Elm Street. You're a prisoner of your sleep,
Oh my gosh.
but you have to because there's normal life out there.
yeah.
It's taboo in a way, but it's not as taboo as it used to be, thanks to Netflix, and other people talking about it. But I mean,
Mhm.
it's frightening, and a lot of people that I know that have it don't speak of it because it's almost like invoking it in a way.
Right.
So it kind of makes you nervous. But,
Yeah, I mean-
you do it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that was one reason why I wanted to do a podcast on sleep paralysis because, I mean, I'm a podcast geek. I listen to podcasts all the time. And you hear podcasts on everything. And, I know that Dave Schrader has covered sleep paralysis on Darkness Radio a couple of times back in the day. But a lot of people don't hit on sleep paralysis. So, that's why I shot out the message, and you were quick to respond, and I so appreciate that.
Well, and I think a lot of people don't think of sleep paralysis as being something paranormal. They think more of it being a psychological or medical, so.
Okay, so let's get back to you and, like, your earliest experience that you remember. If you could break that down and describe that to us.
Absolutely. I remember when I was smaller, like I said, I was about 3, and I had my own room because I was an only child. So I remember my room having like a bay window in it, and for some reason I was terrified of this window. My mother thinks that I saw some type of bear, but I think that this, it kind of played into the sleep paralysis things that I was having, which they tagged as bad dreams because, I was very, upset about these things. And, if you're a parent and your kids come to you and say, I had a bad dream, I'm scared, you're like, oh, it's okay, you're fine. You kind of pass it off. You don't really think about it. And that's kind of what they did to me. I would go to bed at the same time every night, and at this age, it was almost clockwork. If it wasn't happening every night, it was happening every other night.
Wow.
And I would lay down, and I didn't have, a television or anything in my room. We weren't allowed. Plus, it was the early 80s. We didn't really have too much technology at all.
Right.
And
been there.
I would lay down.
We had hairspray, though.
I don't know if I would go to sleep, or I don't recall the transitioning point, but I would remember it happening. And then at this age, I don't know if I manifested it in my mind or if it was something paranormal. I would see, I would hear first it would be auditory. I would hear it was almost like a heavy breathing or a pounding or like a drumming. I can't quite recall exactly what it was, but that would be the onset. I would know at that point this is happening.
Wow.
The sound. And then with the sound, there was a period of time, and then came the visual. And at this age, the visual was very dark, creatures, now that I'm an adult, almost bear-like, perhaps, in the windows.
Wow.
And they would not be able to get in, but they would be, parading around outside of the window, and I would be, of course, terrified. And then they would throw something at me, and I would wake up, in a sense, or be able to move again. And the strangest thing about it is, I remember once I started hearing, the sounds, I started learning that, hey, if I can get the hell out of here before these things come, I won't have to deal with this. So I don't know if I was having the sleep paralysis and then possibly sleepwalking, but at some points I would be able to actually leave my room, go out into the living room, and still continue hearing these sounds and things coming from my room. But it was almost like I was stuck in mud. And I would feel, I would feel hands on me. I remember there was times I would feel things grab me, or I would feel, I would hear them saying my name, and that's.
Would you be awake at that point? Or still kind of in that sleep?
I was awake. There's no way that, even being an adult and trying to understand, trying to figure it out from all aspects, I know that I was, there's no way that I was sleepwalking. There's no way that I was dreaming. I was stuck in this state of something happening to me. And, I grew up and I went to college and I studied, psychology just to learn about sleep. just to learn about this, just to learn about, hey, there was no way. So
Wow.
it was quite scary. And then, that changed as I got older to, it was like I was referring to the Nightmare on Elm Street. It's almost like whatever this sleep paralysis issue is, that it changes as I get older to what do you fear the most? And how does this affect you? And then with all the, not being able to move and hearing things and seeing things and feeling touch, and I was scratched on several occasions. Whether or not whether I scratched myself, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. So, like the times you talked about that, you would get out of the room before it happened, so it wouldn't happen, and it still happened.
Absolutely.
Do you think that maybe you were still in bed and you were having this out of body experience where, in your head you were in the living room, but physically you were still in the bedroom? I'm not, that throws out the whole sleepwalking thing.
Yeah.
This is like, mentally you were taking yourself to the living room, but physically your body's still there, in that sleep paralysis state.
It's a possibility. I mean, it's a good possibility. I mean, there's no discernible evidence because nobody else saw me, or I wouldn't wake up in there. So that's it's a good theory of what could have happened, because it wasn't like I was waking up on, in the living room. I was in the bed.
Right.
Huh.
I was in the bed.
That's wild.
That's very scary. And okay, so you've seen the bears, you've heard voices.
Been touched.
You've been touched and scratched. Like I
Yeah.
said, whether you did it yourself or not, personally, that's not even relevant. I mean, the thing is, you're getting scratched, even if you are doing it yourself. You're not realizing.
It goes along with the whole.
Yeah,
whole thing
it goes along with
completely.
everything I've read about this subject.
Mm-hmm.
But being in sleep paralysis, you wouldn't be able to scratch yourself.
That's exactly.
Yeah, and that is
Yeah.
also something that I've thought about too. Like, and even when I've gotten older, like, it was shortly after I had my daughter, I had an incident that it was ingrained in my mind, where I had an experience, sleep paralysis experience, and the auditory kind of stuff, stuff kind of went out the window, and now it just happens. Like, you're laying there, it's dark, and then you just can't move. You can't move, you can't see, and I opened my eyes and I saw a figure, and it was a black figure, and it was very ominous. Like, there's never any light to this kind of thing. It's always a very dark.
Yeah.
Well, and it seems so lonely, because
Yeah,
you're stuck.
I felt something come up and breathe on me, like somebody would come face to face with you and breathe like hot breath on your face. I felt it.
Did you?
And I just shut my eyes, and I'm like, my God, if I open my eyes, it's going to be right here.
I've experienced the same exact thing myself.
Yeah. Steve was like, before we brought you on, Steve was telling about the one time that he experienced sleep paralysis. And I'll let him tell you real quick, because it's a short story, and see if you relate to any of this story.
Yeah, I come home from investigating a location out in Missouri. Got home and went to bed. It was probably about 8 o'clock. I was laying there watching TV. I could have swore I was still awake. But I might have been in that that sleep state. But all of a sudden, my arms felt like they were thrown behind my head, and then this figure, this woman, was sitting on my chest. She had this long, dark black hair. But the thing that got me the most was, the hot breath I could feel on my neck, and these teeth. They were just like almost like shark teeth, just real jagged and ragged, and it was the scariest thing I experienced in my life. I thought it was going to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he called me right after that had happened. I'd said this earlier on the podcast. He called me after it happened. I was like, dude, are you sure you're not just watching some shit on TV and you're, telling me what you saw? He's like,
Right.
because he was so vivid about how everything happened. I mean, he described it to the point, I was seeing it in my head just by his description. And, I mean, I couldn't imagine. I mean, I have bad dreams or whatever, nightmares. But this shit, no, hell no.
Mm-mm.
Eileen, what would have been your scariest moment that you could recall, or have they all been equally scary?
I had the scariest moment I was I fell asleep during the day. It was kind of like what he was speaking of. Like it was still sunlight out. I remember I came home from work and I laid down in my bed and there was sunlight coming in my room. Just a regular daytime nap.
Right.
Well, I guess I didn't, like he said, I didn't realize that I fell asleep, but I opened my eyes. And it was just like, oh, well, I felt like I wasn't, asleep anymore. I wasn't tired. So I was like, well, I'll get up. I looked over. I couldn't necessarily turn my head, but you kind of wake up and blink a little bit. And I looked, and there was a figure sitting in a chair in the corner of the room. And it didn't have a face, but
That's fucked up.
Was all black. Sitting in the chair and just there.
Did it acknowledge you at all?
It didn't acknowledge me at one bit, but I felt it. I could feel it. I don't know how to describe it, and I could just feel it. And I was looking, and you kind of blink, and I couldn't move. And then I was like, well, what the hell's going on? And at this point, I kind of blinked again and it was gone. And then I felt my body being lifted up off of my bed, and then I was slammed down onto the bed. Now, whether or not this really happened, was irrelevant to me.
Yeah, totally.
But I was slammed down with like huge amounts of force. And then I did wake up. Per se, I sat up in a frenzy. I was sweating, and to me, it happened.
Right,
it absolutely happened. It wasn't a dream. Dreaming is just a whole different ballgame from this.
Well, and I think there's
so
different levels of whether it like actually happens compared to happening in a state of paralysis. I mean, regardless, it's happened, it has happened to you. I mean, whether it be physically or mentally, it's happened to you and you felt it.
Yeah, that's still an experience that, be it mentally or physically,
right.
it's there. It's in your
terrifying.
head. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Until the day I die, I will believe that it happened to me. My experience, it was so vivid, so real, unreal.
And could you imagine, dude, I mean, for real, could you imagine going through this shit for 32 years like she has?
Hell no.
No.
I think I'd be going crazy by now.
My ass would be locked up in some padded room.
I've gone to doctors. I've gone to doctors. I've researched it. I've looked it up myself. Like I said, I've watched other documentaries. There's a documentary on Netflix right now. I think it's called The Nightmare or Nightmare, where it's about an hour long, and it's about normal people just talking about it happening. And watching this, it's like, oh my God, that's happened to me. This isn't just me. I'm not crazy. There's nothing wrong with me. This is happening to other people.
Now, what do you do? I mean, now knowing that this is just kind of your life, I mean, what do you do is there anything you do to make it better? I mean, do you adjust your nightly routine before you go to bed, or is there anything that you do that seems to make it a little bit better?
I was under the impression at first that it could possibly be, well, maybe I stay up too late, or maybe it's what I eat or whatnot. So I tried to change that, and, that doesn't work. And at times it goes away. At times it will be, like I haven't had an incident in quite some time. But like I said, it's kind of nerve-wracking because it's almost like when you talk about it, it comes.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it's funny because like even in that documentary that I watched, they also spoke about it that way. It's like the more you acknowledge the fact that this is happening, then it will happen. But it's funny. I've tried the Bible, and I've tried everything. There's nothing that could shake it. I mean, I've the latest thing that I've considered doing was going and seeing a medium, and possibly, researching it on that level. And it's kind of funny that I'm here talking to you guys because that was kind of my next step of, hey, all right, well, if I can't figure this out scientifically, if I can't figure this out with lifestyle changes, if I'm not crazy, I don't do any type of, drugs. I don't drink.
Right.
So it's like, okay, what the hell am I going to do? Like, I need to figure this out. Like, what is this and why is it happening?
Wow.
That's insane. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
It's insane to me that she does not drink
Yeah.
or do drugs at this point in her life to help her sleep.
Seriously, I'd be
I'm
like,
like-
I'm going to take this and this. I'm going to drink this.
Yeah.
Let's try this alcohol tonight.
Yeah.
Whatever knocks me out,
Yeah.
give it to me, please.
You're not alone. I don't drink or do drugs either.
Oh, yeah, me neither.
I don't either.
Me either.
Me either, Eileen, I swear.
And she's a
Well,
compulsive
if you read
liar.
the studies, you'll hear the studies, and the doctors will say, oh, this happens more because somebody is on this type of drug, or this
Right.
happens more because people are drinking. And it's like, no, this is not, this is a hypothesis. So
Right.
this
Well,
is,
and, I mean, they
this
like
is
to
what I'm
make
going through.
excuses because they have no if they don't have an answer, they try to come up with the next best thing to have an answer.
Yes.
And if it comes down to, oh, it's drugs and alcohol, then that's an easy out.
It's the scapegoat.
It is.
It's a good scapegoat, absolutely.
But okay, like in your family history, is there anyone else in your family that you know of that has dealt with this?
Not that I know of.
Right.
Not that I know of. I don't even know of anybody.
Yeah, other than yourself that's still into this.
Recall.
Yeah.
Has your
I
kids
guess.
ever said anything about it happening to them?
No, and
That's
I'm
good.
glad.
Yes.
And I've looked for the signs because I remember myself going through. So I've looked at the signs. So if she does say, "Hey, I had a bad dream," I'm like, "Tell me about it."
You're
What
like,
happened?
let's go into detail
I'm
on
almost
this.
like too inquisitive. No,
She's
thank
like,
God
Mom, it was just a dream.
that they've gone through it. So hopefully,
So,
it stays
That's
that way.
good.
okay, and another thing that I had read was like a lot of people that deal with this later in life, they've linked it to Parkinson's disease. Does anyone in your family that you know of have had Parkinson's disease or currently has Parkinson's disease?
Not anybody that I know. I don't know.
Okay.
No
No,
immediate
not
family.
anybody that I know of.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. I'm just trying to hit all the bases that I've.
Oh no, it's
Yeah.
fine.
I mean, it's a subject that amazes me. That just that your strength of being able to deal with this day in and day out, and like you said, still get up and live highly
go to sleep.
fulfilled life, functioning
And
life.
talk about
Yeah.
it knowing that it could happen
Yeah.
just from talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
It's a level of as I've gotten older, it's more of now I'm gonna be stubborn. Like, all right, you're gonna do this now, like, and maybe the confidence for myself or whatnot kind of may help stave it off or whatever it could be.
Well, that kind of makes a point in that movie that we had watched.
Mm-hmm.
That one doctor was like, this is your mind.
Right. They might
Yeah.
paralyze your body, but they can't paralyze your mind.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you have that, since you've dealt with this so many years, you've got it in your head, this is my body. You're not taking it over. So, bam.
Mm-hmm.
And you have that ability to push it off.
Fight harder than most.
I guess the only thing I've really got to say is, girl, you've got balls. I mean, because we sit and we do this. Yeah, because Andrea has mine in a purse. Yes, Steve. Yeah. But,
It's a crown.
yeah, crown royal bag. Yes, she
Yes.
keeps my balls in her pretty little crown royal bag.
In her satin bag.
Yeah,
Yep.
but we go out and we do this paranormal investigating thing, and we go sit in these dark, creepy ass places, But then we come home to relax and to get away from that and
Be safe.
and to feel safe, And what you're doing is you're dealing with this, never knowing if tonight's the night it's going to happen.
Right.
Is tomorrow the night it's going to happen? You know.
Well, I think I can't speak for her, but I think maybe there's just that state where you just have to be like, I'm not even going to think, is it going to happen here or there or whenever. You just, go on with life and live it to the fullest, and then
if it happens, and
if
you
it
deal
happens,
with
you
it.
deal with it then.
Well.
Yeah, you definitely can't dwell on it. That I will agree on. So you can't dwell on it, and whatever it may be, either psychological or physical or even in a paranormal sense. Like, the last thing you want to do if it is paranormal is invoke something.
Right.
You don't want to make something, you don't want to acknowledge something and let something in, because I think then at that point,
it feeds off of it.
You're asking for trouble.
It does. Things feed off fear, and things feed off of misery, and it's like if you don't give something the time of day, then it's gonna kind of just lay back. I don't think it's gone. I don't think it's whatever it is. I don't think it's gone, but I think it's pulled back a little bit for whatever reason.
Because you're so strong.
A little dormant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned that you had gone to doctors and all that. What did they say? I mean, did they, did you like do counseling, just sit and talk about all the shit? Or did they try like prescription stuff to help you sleep? The Ambiens or whatever?
I refuse to take prescription sleep medicine just because I don't like it.
Right.
I try to lay off medications in general. My go-to if I really need to get some sleep is Benadryl.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
Me
if
too.
we need a copyright for that. Benadryl is the best.
Yes, it is.
In fact,
Yes,
I
it
need
is.
it right now, but I did not take it because I knew I would be out.
Yeah, and it does its job. It's not prescription, and then the worst side effect you have is frogginess. But no, I've been to doctors. I did counseling, and they're like, oh well, you're manifesting from dark places from your childhood, because I didn't have the greatest childhood, but I'm like, no, that's not it. Like, it can't be it. Like, there's no way. Like, and there's other ones that tell me there's nothing wrong with you. You're hallucinating. You need to get some sleep. You're working too hard. And that's the go-to for me, because I work all the time, and every problem that I have, you're working too much. Like, well, thanks
sometimes
for helping.
Working gets your mind off of things.
Yeah,
Exactly.
definitely.
So, I mean, does this happen? Okay, you mentioned the one time that it happened during the day and you'd fallen asleep on the couch or whatever. Has it happened more than just that one time during the day, or any random time? Like if you're going on a trip and you go to sleep in the car, has it ever happened to you there? Or, any other place besides in your bed or the one time on the couch?
No. I'm not really a car sleeper because I get car sick. So I'm usually, if I'm traveling, I have to be driving.
I'm right there with you.
I can sleep in a car.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
I can.
But no, not that I can recall, not like anywhere in the open. It's happened besides my own home. It's happened at, friend's house or, something like that, but never, just kind of like when you crash
Right.
at your desk at work. I don't do that, but
Yeah, if her employer is listening, she does not. Eileen does not sleep at work.
I do not. Absolutely not.
She's
I don't
all
condone
business.
sleeping at work either.
Yeah, she's
Sleep
all
at home.
business all the time.
That's right.
Yeah, employee of the month.
I wouldn't go that far, but
Hey, I'm trying to help you out
it
here.
hasn't. It's usually just been kind of, regular sleep type situations.
Well, honestly, I think you're a very strong woman.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said before, I couldn't do this. I couldn't deal with that at all.
No.
Well, when you're used to something, you deal with it. Most people say, you don't know what you're going to do until you're dealing with it.
That's
Most
true.
people are stronger than they think in general. It's, I don't consider myself a hero, but but if it's happening, you're gonna figure out a way. You're gonna adapt. I think that's the nature of the world.
And
You
fight
adapt to
back
it,
when you
let
need
it teach
to.
you.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know you are on your way home from work right now, so we won't keep you any longer. I'm glad that we got a chance to talk to you and you got some of your story out there, and hopefully, people will hear this and
it'll help them.
It'll help them. They'll know they're not alone in this, because I'm
Yes.
sure when you're going through this, you think that you're the only person that's affected by this shit.
You do, and you think you're crazy, but
Yeah.
you're not crazy. You are not crazy. You are not crazy. Don't listen to what anybody tells you. This is real stuff. You are not crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. In the U.S. alone, there are 3 million documented reports of sleep paralysis every year.
That is wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
That
But
number
nobody talks about it.
completely
Yeah.
baffled
Nobody
me, because you're right. Nobody talks about it. So it's one of those things that, how can it be so common?
And yet,
in-
It's so
Yet-
taboo, like
Yeah.
you had
Yeah.
mentioned.
But,
Because there's a pattern in America, especially, that if you can't see something that's happening, if you can't see a disease or a disorder or an event, then it's not happening.
and if they
We
have
only
no
acknowledge what we see.
answers.
We're not
Yeah.
acknowledging the invisible.
right.
So you peg somebody as being, crazy, and it's not that.
It's the easy way out.
Yes.
Well, I wish you all the luck, and I hope that this shit calms down so you can I know you're still living your normal life, but I hope you can and this stuff calms down and you can live a normal life without this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because I don't know, that's just
It's a scary thought.
yeah. I mean, and people will probably listen to this and think, how scary can that be? You wake up with some fucker sitting on top of you, holding you down, that isn't really there.
Right.
Or are they?
Yeah.
Or are they? Yeah, who knows?
absolutely.
No one knows. Wake up and somebody's standing in the corner of your room.
Oh.
Yeah. It creeps
Or,
me
yeah,
out
something
enough with my
breathing on
5-year-old
you or
standing there.
something.
Seriously, it creeps me out when Steve comes in there and stands over me.
Yeah, I know. Here we are trying to sleep and wake up, and Steve's standing there looking.
5 o'clock in the morning.
I was only needing to borrow $5.
Mama.
But,
Thank you so much, Eileen, for being on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you very
for having
much.
me.
yeah.
Yeah,
and-
thank you.
And thank you for dealing with our craziness while you were talking about your.
Oh, it was fun. It was fun. I appreciate it. Maybe I'll get to see you guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I told you when we talked to you earlier, we have an event coming up in July. It's on July 21st at the Hales Bar Dam. You are more than welcome to come down and investigate with us for the night. It's going to run from 6 p.m. till 3 a.m. And you can hang out with us afterwards if you want.
And it's going to be a
Okay.
blast, Eileen.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
yeah.
only like, it's about maybe 2 hours from Tanya. So you could totally travel up here. You can crash at my house and we can do a whole tour thing.
Okay.
We can ghost hunt.
Well, I will see if I can get the boyfriend to do it, and I think if I can talk him into doing it, I think we'll be down.
Well, you just
Cool.
put your foot down, girl. You tell him he's got to do it.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
Well, see what you do is you go on to our Facebook page there and go to the event, and you go to the PayPal and you just buy the tickets and say, "Hey, I already bought these tickets. You're coming."
Right?
I don't know. He's stubborn Italians.
Oh.
That would be Steven.
Oh, my God, Stormy.
He is
Story
a
of
stubborn
our life.
Italian.
Yeah, I can understand where he comes from.
I was going to say stubborn ass, but
Well, it's stubborn ass, stubborn Italian. We're all the same.
I'm
Well-
Italian too, so it's true.
Yeah.
Well, we really hope that you can get to make it out. We'd love to. Well, we'd love to meet
We'd
you.
love to meet you, and come out and have fun with us. And it's going to be a blast. And if anyone's listening that has dealt with this stuff, and maybe you have some information that you can give to Eileen, or maybe you want some more information from Eileen, just shoot us a message on our Facebook page, and we will get you in contact with her, and maybe you guys can help vent this thing out together.
Absolutely, reach out. I don't
Yeah.
mind helping at all.
Yeah.
No problem.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for being on ParaTalk with us.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you much, Eileen.
Yes.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful night, and hopefully we will see you soon.
Yes.
Y'all do the same.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Again.
What?
Okay, they are having a fit
I
over
am
here.
struggling not to cough here. Because
Jesse's choking.
my allergies are like,
I'm telling you.
my throat has a constant tickle in the back of it, and I cannot get rid of it.
Lozenge?
No, I don't. I'll suck on my ice.
Don't
or
choke on
choke
it.
on it.
Hey, I have cough drops in my lunchbox. If you want
Like
one.
actual cough.
Yeah, like actual cough drops, like
Mentholate 'em.
Yeah, the intense.
Mentholate 'em?
Yeah, it's
Cough
like
drops?
it's
No,
like
just
the
menthol.
extreme menthol. They're the intense. So maybe
Okay.
that'll.
When you
help.
breathe in, your lungs turn to ice.
Yes, it's
Ooh.
wonderful.
Ooh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, guys. I mean, that was.
Oh, are we still recording?
Yeah, we're still
Yeah.
recording.
Oh, snap. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I thought we were at commercial.
No commercials.
And
Okay,
we're
guys.
back.
Hi.
You know,
These earphones suck.
I told you, dude. That's why I bought these.
Mine are rocking pretty hard.
I'm kind of enjoying these, except for them hurting my ears.
See, I'm telling you, everybody just needs to get a pair of these because I mean, you've worn them. These are so comfortable.
Even though yesterday or the day before you were like, my ears are sweating, man.
Well, they are hot, but I mean, the
I
sound
wonder if I
quality.
could use my new headphones. They've got, oh no. I mean, they got a mic on them, but
Oh, it might not work because
It-
it would be the same, the three ring. Anyway, we'll
Yeah.
discuss that later, guys.
Yeah, we'll discuss that later. But,
Sidetrack.
but
Yeah, that's crazy. The sleep paralysis thing is just no joke. It scares me to death. You know, I mean, I've had some very intense nightmares.
Yes.
The ones where you jolt.
yeah.
You know, you wake
Right.
yourself up, and you know, and the scary ones to me are the times you do that, but you don't remember why. Have you ever done that where you just wake up and you just don't even remember why?
Oh, yeah.
You know what you were dreaming about to make you jump out of that.
I know I've woke up before from just horrible, horrible dreams and actually sat and had to keep myself awake because if I go directly back to sleep, I'll go straight into the same
What
dream.
did I tell you? I did that.
Yeah.
I told Steve, we were talking about it earlier, and I was like, I've had to keep myself awake because I did not want to go back to sleep because I knew if I fell asleep, then I would be back in
And
it.
that's miserable.
It is.
I had these dreams that I would do the total opposite. I would want to go back to sleep and go back into them because
So awesome.
it was amazing. I mean, just
What was
where
her
I-
name?
I was about to say, what kind of
Ingrid.
dream was that?
Ingrid, Slovakia.
I remember those dreams too, Steve. Yeah. We all of us guys had those dreams about 14 years old.
But no, it's
Steve
crazy.
still
I
has them.
could make myself levitate out of my bed in these dreams. I would just have this euphoric feeling over my entire body. It was just the wildest freaking thing ever.
And what drug was it?
Again, that's mushrooms. No, it's not a dream. That's mushrooms.
Peyote.
But I couldn't imagine.
But I would wake up and I'd be like,
being-
oh my God, I got to get back in there. You know,
Yeah.
I would try and force myself back to sleep, but
And it wouldn't work.
no.
It's always the ones you don't want to go back into
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
get thrown back into.
And see, like me, like the bad dreams I would have that I would wake up and not want to go back to sleep always involved a family member.
Yeah.
know,
that's
it's-
a huge part
Yeah.
of
And it's like, I don't want to go to sleep because I don't want to finish
right.
that dream.
I don't want to. I don't want to see where that one ends.
Yeah.
Those are the worst ones.
Yeah. But, I mean,
And you know, I had a reoccurring nightmare.
was it
or
about
is-
Pop-Tarts?
No, or as Xander calls them, nightmares.
Yeah, the nightmares.
I had a reoccurring nightmare from, I would say, from the time I was like, I would say about 4 years old until I was about 13. I would have it so often. And it was about a freaking department store,
Watson's.
Watson's. Do you
Were
you might
walking
not.
through it naked?
No, no. I was like 4.
She'd walk through it and it went poopy.
No,
You never got naked when you were 4?
not in a department store. Well, maybe.
You probably did.
I probably did.
And hung out under the clothes rack.
Pop out, hey.
Hey, you do it.
No.
Hell, she does that now.
That's true.
I can't take her anywhere, dude.
That is true. No, they had a stairwell that went down into the fun basement because it had all the toys. But you go down to the stairwell and it had mirrors on both sides. And my nightmare, I was going down the stairs, but I could never get out of it. And I would always see things in the mirrors, but nothing was on the stairs with me. And it happened so many times. I was scared to death to go back in that store.
That's some Silent Hill shit right there.
Yeah.
Now, I have one that my girls even know about. It's because it only happens if somebody tickles me, and it's the worst nightmare that I can ever imagine. Like, I
Pee
hate
on yourself?
No,
Oh.
I hate to be tickled. I cannot stand it. It's just something that even as a kid I could not stand. I will have a dream of this man chasing me through the woods,
And tickle you.
and he will get me down, and he will just continuously tickle me. But it's not a normal man. It's weird because his head is like this
It's the
long.
tickle
He
monster.
almost looks like Beavis. Okay? Seriously, he almost looks like Beavis, and it is the worst dream ever.
Well,
you
let me
know,
tell
you better
we-
be glad that you weren't growing up around my older brother.
No, we saw Beavis the other night
I did.
at Hayden's band recital thing.
Hey,
Yeah. It was a child that looked like Beavis. I'm not.
That is horrible. You are going to hell for making fun of some poor
I'm not making fun.
Beavis child.
I freaking love Beavis
a
and
Beavis
Butthead.
child.
I love Beavis and Butthead. And this kid looked like Beavis. I was like, holy shit, look, it's Beavis. Oh my God, it's Beavis.
Yeah, I had to hold it back. He was going to go try to hug him.
He got all
I
excited.
wanted,
Get an autograph.
I wanted an autograph. I was like yeah, let's throw up the devil horns. Let's rock out to Metallica.
That's funny because Hayden was cornholio last night at the
Oh
funeral.
my God.
He had his shirt over his head, and I was like,
No.
"What are you, cornholio?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "How do you know about cornholio?"
I need TB. TB for my bunghole.
Oh my gosh! How did we get from sleep paralysis to Beavis and Butthead?
Her tickle monster.
Only we could.
The tickle,
That's true.
So
it was
random.
Jesse's tickle monster.
Yeah, my tickle monster looks like Beavis. It's horrible.
That would be a nightmare.
It really is. It's crazy.
I hated being tickled myself.
Yeah, I can't
growing
stand
up.
it. My kids will even say, "Don't tickle mommy because she'll have nightmares." I'm like, "Yes, thank
My
you."
kids would be like, "Don't tickle
As I
mommy,
choke
she'll
on
pee."
ice.
Yeah. Her bladder's getting weak.
She's getting up in them,
In
them
her
ears.
old age.
She's all the way up to 30.
Holy crap.
Shelly.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're welcome.
thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, I wish.
But yeah, I mean, my dreams. I mean, I've had the normal
Wet
dream-
ones.
Yeah,
Oh
Yeah.
Lord, let's not go there.
her name was
Hey,
Ingrid.
it's human
too.
nature.
Her name was Ingrid too, and I could never go back to sleep. But
Sokolov.
yes,
Okay.
yeah,
I remember her.
yeah,
She must have been
I
popular.
know,
she
right?
was. Yeah, part Princess Leia, part Pamela
Chewbacca?
Anderson. No. Guys didn't dream
was
about
a
sleeping.
Wookiee.
Guys didn't dream about sleeping with,
It was
with
a fun.
Sasquatch.
It was a hairy Princess
What
Leia.
is that song? What is that sound he does it when
I
she's
don't-
going brrrr? What's the Chewbacca sound?
I can't do it.
What the hell?
That's my Chewbacca sound.
Kind of like this.
You getting the fart needles again, Dad? Never mind what I'm
Oh my gosh!
Okay, my Chewbacca is not the best,
No, that was like,
obviously.
But now we know that they dreamed of hairy Princess Leia.
dude. Did we ever say that?
Never.
No.
He did.
I said Princess Leia and Pamela Anderson.
Same thing.
Not Harry Henderson.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh. Okay.
Oh. crap.
Yeah. See, this just goes further to prove they hear what they want to hear.
This
That's
is
it.
true.
Yeah.
It's got to be entertaining, if nothing else.
That's true.
They hear what they want to hear.
Sounds
And
familiar.
this is our life, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome.
To the dark side.
It doesn't matter what you think.
Oh, Steve's getting all WWE in here.
Yeah. From The Rock to Ric Flair.
That's right.
But
Go ahead. Snap into a Slim Jim.
Oh,
yeah.
My face
But-
hurts.
yeah.
Mine does too.
Well, guys, hopefully next week we'll get another interview with someone. I'm going to reach out this week. And if anybody listening, if you have something cool that you want to share and you want to jump on here like Eileen did, you know who we need to have on our podcast?
Who?
The Vag Girls.
The Vag
Yes.
Girls.
We need to have the Vag Girls.
Okay,
on the
you
podcast.
missed that.
Yeah.
It's Vodka,
Vodka
and
and
Ghost
Ghosts.
podcast.
It's what?
Vodka and Ghost podcast.
Oh, I was like, this could
trust
be
me.
bad.
No.
Trust me.
They're hilarious, are they?
They are
not?
hilarious.
Okay.
They were.
They
were
interviewed us this past Monday.
Monday.
Aw.
And the episode should be coming out this weekend, they said. So, but they are funny. And they're coming down to our event. They're coming from Washington, D.C.
Oh,
down
wow. That is
for our event.
awesome.
Yeah. And they're a trip. They're hilarious.
That is
Do you watch
awesome.
Nashville?
No,
See?
I don't.
Apparently,
Can't
I sound like
wait to
Raina.
meet the Vag
Do
Girls.
you?
I know.
Yeah.
We get
Wow.
our Vag shirts.
Oh, we're going to be sporting
How many,
Vag.
on our
how many
chest.
different conversations can we have at this point where
I'm sure
we're
we could
talking
have
and then they're
enough.
talking?
Yeah.
And
Hey, you guys have
Well,
to
isn't that
sport some
normally how it
Vag too.
goes?
Yeah, it is.
I sport Vag every day.
I'm not talking about with panties.
You want us to wear our Vag on our shirt?
Absolutely.
Go Vag!
Yes. Team Vag.
Team
Vag.
Vag. It's all about that Vag.
Gosh.
Come at me,
Come
bro.
at me, bro.
What does that mean, Dad?
But yeah, anyway, if you have a story that you want to share with us,
Again.
we would totally appreciate it. Just call us up or message us on Facebook, and we'll get it worked out.
Facebook.com/EastTN Ghost Seekers.
Very good.
And what's that phone number?
That phone number would be 865-264-0448.
Yes.
You can call
And-
us on that number, and you can leave your message. You're gonna, when you call, you're gonna get a recording, and you just leave your message. It doesn't matter how long it is; it's not going to cut you off. Leave your message with what you're experiencing, or your creepiest story, or a topic that you want us to talk about, or if you want us to get in touch with you and you want to come on the air and talk with us like Eileen did. And another, again, huge shout out to Eileen. She did amazing.
Yes. We
I
appreciate that.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't. Yeah, I'd be terrified to go to sleep every night. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, and you people can also check out our website.
Yes, they can check out our website. It's easttnghostseekers.org.
That's .org.
O-R-G.
Very good, guys. Very good. That's a team effort right there. It's a freaking team
Yes.
Go team.
effort. You scared my dog to death, dude.
I scare your dog to death when I walk down the hallway.
That's true.
Yeah, you do.
Thanks everybody for listening.
Yeah.
Check us out again on our next podcast.
Yes, hopefully we'll have another good one, and if we don't, we'll make one up.
Yeah. It's going to
We're
be
good
good
at that.
regardless.
We're good at that. We'll
Yeah.
at least make you laugh.
Now that the whole
Try
gang's
to.
back together.
That's right.
All back together. All right, here.
Oh, the fame family.
There we go.
The whole damn family.
No, fame family.
Fam damnly.
Yeah.
It's okay. She
fame
calls shit.
families.
Boo.
Is there a problem, Ossifer?
Are you making fun of my words?
I
No.
would never make fun of your words.
No.
I would yours.
Well, of course you would.
Duh.
I would expect nothing less.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Until next time, thank you for listening to ParaTalk. We will be back again next week with another episode. And until then, I'm Steven.
Steve.
Jesse.
Andrea.
And you've been listening to ParaTalk.
That's all, folks.
You're listening to ParaTalk with East and Seacoast Seekers, a new perspective in paranormal talk radio.
Hey, this is Steve with ParaTalk. Do you have a story to share? Call us at 865-264-0448 to explain your paranormal experience. Do you have a chilling story you'd like to share? Or just give us a topic you'd enjoy us to discuss? We understand some of you would like to keep anonymous, so the choice is yours if you want to share your name. So call 865-264-0448 now to have your story heard on the next episode of ParaTalk.